Hi, everyone. It's Mitch from SportsChatPlace.com and PickDogs.com. And, of course, it is Thursday, May 28th. I don't need to tell you guys that. You guys have a calendar. And, of course, your phones now will tell you what day it is. I love the way they tell you when it's Christmas. We haven't gone to that bit in a while. But new news out of Major League Baseball. They've decided, the players, that they want to play more games and get paid more money. We'll talk to Steve Monahan about that in a bit. The NHL continues to trudge along, but, some people aren't happy, but we're going to talk to the Puck Dogs about that. Of course, yesterday's NASCAR race canceled. Let's hold all the races in the same place where it rains every single day. I went to summer camp. I used to go to summer camp when I was a kid. No surprise to anyone, I used to get sent away for 2 months at a time for the summers by my parents. And, I used to go to that same area of the country, that North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, where they all meet, Tennessee, and it rained all the time, just all the time. So, someone didn't really think that one all the way through, but eventually they'll get a race in. But thanks everyone who is joining us, and of course, if you got comments, you got things to say, by all means, let her rip. That's what we're here for. If you have any questions or anything, I'm still working on my set, working on some lighting, working on some things. So it's all a work in progress. We're going to make the most out of this situation, and we're going to bring in Steve Monahan. Steve, welcome to our show.
Hey, good morning, Mitch. How are you?
Great. You sound fantastic, Steve. It took him a week to plug in a USB mic and get some headphones, but he's able to do it. He's on board, and we give the big round of applause. It took both Puck Dogs combined about 4 minutes, but
right. I mean, it took literally 24 hours, 7. We were working around the clock here. We had 3 crews trying to figure out, and at the end of the day, I had to download something.
Yeah, you got to take the USB and plug it into the USB slot.
No, it wasn't that simple. There was something that I needed to download within the desktop. Without doing that, you could plug in the USB all day and night, Mitchell, and there'd be no sound.
Well.
But we figured it out, and we moved forward.
Well, there we have. Well, we have sound. We are here. We are live, and Steve's got his headphones in and everything. He is he's starting to look he's starting to look a little official over there. We're just ready for some makeup, I think, next. I think Steve and I both getting old and shiny here. So
I could use a tan. I could use a tan.
I'm telling you, I've been getting roasted. But anyways, Major League Baseball. So the guy who I was hoping was going to lead everybody to the promised land is the guy who's the mouth, and now the one that everyone hates. Max Scherzer comes out and says, "We're not taking any pay cut at all, 0. We'll play 100 games. We'll play 18 extra games."
Right.
Now, once again, the players getting painted, as the bad guys, okay, and the owners are the bad guys too here. So I think we know what this is. There's no trust between the sides. And that's really what's going on here, is that the owners are saying they're going to take this massive hit with no fans in the stands. And the players, what's buried in these articles, and any article you've read about this, unless it came from some other website. I mean, if it comes from the reputable news sites like ESPN, not the guys just looking for something to publish on their websites. Like, if we posted an article about this, we don't cover news generally, but if we did, we'd post an article about this, and I don't know if I would hope, if our guy didn't include this, I would probably be on the phone with him. We want to see some more documentation. Now, the documentation that they want to see, the players, this is important. They want to see what this TV deal means. They want to know exactly what these numbers mean of the people not in the stands. They're not going to take their owner's word of, well, we're not going to make as much money. That's not good enough. We're talking a lot of money. And, Mark Cuban said, and Adam Silver said this with the NBA, that it's a very, very small percentage of people that actually sit in the stands for these games compared to the total amount of people that watch an NBA game. Now, obviously, a fan in the stands, it's kind of like a person that walks into a casino. They say, well, every person that walks in, regardless of if they don't spend anything at all or if they spend $100,000 here, the average for each person walking through the door is X, right? And that's basically how it's done. And it's the same thing at the stadium, that a TV viewer, so someone who comes to Sports Chat Place and Pick Dogs and never buys anything, and which is fine, we have that option because it's fine, right? There's nothing
this
wrong
is
with it.
America.
Right.
This is capitalism.
Yeah. It's we make pennies off of that in advertising. Pennies.
Right.
Someone that buys a premium package or something like that, obviously that contributes more to the bottom line. It helps us expand, helps us pay for things, helps Steve Monahan to get a microphone and some earbuds, and the Puck Dogs get some lights and some earbuds and some microphones, and enhances the show. You guys see, we're constantly pouring money into our website.
Yep.
But the players want to see what the details of this are. Steve, any guesses as to what we're going to see here if these numbers come out?
Again, I'm back and forth with this. We talked about the Players Union and Major League Baseball. They coming back. They're not coming back.
I have a bone to pick on the other side. I have a bone to pick on the other side too.
I would say I think it's within reason that the players have a chance to dissect really the bones of what the TV deal is. So, because that's the only revenue that's really coming in. So, and again, the clock is ticking, and I can see the players' point on this one. All
right, so on the other side of it, okay, and I could see the players' side on it too. So, one of the things that's mentioned here is sponsorships. And most teams have sponsors. You see these giant billboards out in the outfield at Yankee Stadium of office equipment companies, and you see, Fenway Park, the Green Monster's hardly, what it once was. And, all of these places, you see these giant billboards, and obviously, if you see some of the old ones, I love, they showed that Dolphins-Chargers game, and the whole scoreboard was a Winston cigarette ad.
Right, yeah.
Any chance we see logos on uniforms?
No, they are in the NBA now.
Yeah. I mean, how about that?
And Major League Baseball, too. I think I think they're about to whore themselves out if they haven't already.
How about Bronson Arroyo breaking out his guitar and change cup, for his old cronies, salvage up some money because these guys, maybe start busking, in front of stadiums here, take a collection for these guys. What do you think?
Yeah, poor baby. Hopefully he can fill up that guitar case and feed himself after his performance.
I'm at a loss here. I mean, we've all taken a hit, and I think both sides, but I think the owners, and I always look at both sides, and I have another thing to say that I wanted to lead in the show, but I'm going to say it when the Puck Dogs come on, so when everybody's here later on. Something that I never say on these shows, but I'm going to say it because I have to. But
nobody's sympathizing with the owners.
The owners say
the fact that they're losing money,
but the owners
that type of thing. But they both got to get in the sandbox and play nice and knock this out. And if they're going to play, it's time to come to an agreement. But next week, 2 weeks out, maybe.
But the owners are saying. So the owners are saying, and here's what they say, okay? And here's my one thing where I'll back the owners here. I look at both sides, and the owners this is their point, okay? This is their point because the players are saying, this is their line, Max Scherzer's line. We already negotiated this, and on March 27th, it says that we get a full prorated salary. This was after COVID, that this was negotiated. This was after.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So it fully says that we get a full prorated salary. It also says, which Max Scherzer, I hate if you're not telling the whole story, then you're not telling the truth, right? And Max Scherzer isn't telling the whole story here Because what it basically says is, or what it's supposed to represent, at least, and I don't have the contract in front of me, but this is what the owners are saying, is that it leaves the door open for a good faith negotiation if there's no fans in the stands. You know, and I think that's what this really comes down to, is that we have two sides that hate each other's guts, that do not trust one another, you know, because of the slave labor, you know, for so many years. And, you know, we saw it in the NFL. We've seen it in every sport. We saw the NFL, right? They got the collective bargaining agreement done. What did it come down to, right? What was in the end of the end things, right? Outside of the extra game and the extra playoff game, what was the final thing that pushed the collective bargaining over the top?
It's all about the money.
It was 0.5% is what was the final cave. That was what they were at each other's throats for at the very, very end. 0.5%. So we're not talking about like a 10% difference or 20%. 0.5% seriously moves the needle when we're talking about these kind of numbers. So I think we'll hear more from Major League Baseball, but hopefully this doesn't get ugly. And it's like maybe this is the time for a mediator. You know, where's like a Peter Ubroth or something when you need him? You know, because this is the time. It's like preemptive strike. You know, this is like, you know, this is the time when, like, you know, when I had to go to marriage counseling because my wife bought the unsalted peanuts. This was the time where maybe I walked down to the store, buy the salted peanuts, throw the unsalted ones in the garbage, and maybe just forget that it ever happened. You know,
right?
You know, I mean, this is the time. It's like these are different times. You know, Apple sent me the wrong computer. I have to send this back, and they act like it's my fault, right? I mean, of course. It's like, I mean, 7 days on the phone, 10 hours. You guys have heard me on the phone at Best Buy. And it's like, I've been sugar sweet with all these people, you know, because these are different times. And, you know, but I think baseball players and athletes in general, I think they owe us one, you know. They owe us one. We haven't done anything wrong all these years, you know. So why are they taking it out on us? Because we're the ones always footing the bill.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Anyways, I'm going to bring in the puck dogs here. We're going to go to the NHL where someone's not gruntled right now. So we'll see what's going on. Anyways, welcome Rod and Chris. Good morning, guys. How's it going?
Doing well. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Morning.
Morning.
Another beautiful day here. Nice and sunny.
There you have it. Rod's he doesn't have the guns out, but the sun is out. But so the NHL, the last we heard, were Gary Bettman, you know, claimed from his spare bedroom in his house, and he said, we're going to have this, a playoffs, we're going to have all this stuff. And now you guys are telling me before the show that not only are the Tampa Bay Lightning upset, now the Carolina Hurricane are upset too. What's their problem, Rod? Explain this to me and to our audience.
Who, me? I didn't hear it.
Well, no,
Chris heard this. This is Chris's news. I didn't hear.
Sorry about that, Chris. What's up?
Well, you had Rod Brindamore on an NHL podcast yesterday, basically saying that this playoff format is basically saying, well, what did we do all this work for? If you're gonna put us in, if you're gonna let all 12 teams into each conference, you're basically discrediting all the work that we put in the regular season. You know, he said that you know exactly what did we play 68 games for? You know, we felt that it was. And
what did the host of the podcast say back to him?
I didn't catch the whole.
Suck it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's just like it screams fear to me that they're scared of who they were going to play.
I understand that it does take away from some of the body of work of the season, but so does eliminating the last 10 games of the season, and it doesn't make it an official season. And I'll tell you what, these are guys that struck also, right, and canceled and did all that other stuff before as well. So, you know, the whole idea here is that we're all in this together, and I don't know where this has been lost among, you know, some of these athletes and some of these, you know, teams and some of the stuff. We are all in this together. the fans are being screwed because we haven't seen any sports in months, okay? And this isn't just a hobby. This isn't something that, I mean, it's not even just the fans, that this is part of our life, right? I mean, cut me open. I bleed hurricane orange and green, right? Cut me open. Everyone knows it, it's going to come out. Orange and green, my Hurricanes. And it's like, we haven't seen sports, in a while now. And it's like, this has been taken away from us. It's time to give something back, It's time to give something back. We're all giving in. We're not going to the games. We're going to support the games. If it costs us, something to watch the games on TV, we're going to pay it. We're going to do it. It's like, we're all in this together. And where has that gone? I don't understand it. I don't understand what's going on with these guys. It's like we're all willing to make sacrifices. The fans have always made the sacrifice. Steve and I have talked about it. I know we're dated, with some of our ideas. I know that, man. I'm old, right? I've been told I was old and shitty before by people who I seriously trusted, right? And, maybe they were right. But but part of it, and, what you learned back then, that was a long time ago. That's why, what we've done here has been so successful, because my stuff is stale, right? But anyways, different subject, different day. But, I'm kind of fed up with these players, Instead of finally saying, let's just do the right thing, man. It's like, look at Tom Brady in his split pants out there in the frickin' rain, with Tiger Woods, in his shorts in a frickin' downpour, and Phil Mickelson and Peyton Manning and Charles Barkley and all those guys, and just say, and all our frontline guys who, when the virus was really running rampant, man, these guys showed up for work every frickin' day, man. You owe us this. You owe us this. I know that people like to go to the stadium and have a beer. We talked about this. But, no one enjoys paying $15 for a beer. I'll tell you that much. Nobody does. And that's what the fans have done. And that's not so they get the beer, the $15. The beer costs them, 40 cents. It's like, or less. It's coming out of a keg. It's not even in the bottle where most of the cost is, right, for goods. It's coming out of a keg into a paper cup. There's no way that costs $15 for a Schlitz. I mean, it just doesn't. It could be like,
in them stadium beers, man.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but there's something in that stadium beer. I don't know what they put in there, but you're wrecked inside the stadium, and then you get outside of that fresh air, and you're like, what the heck? What happened to the stadium beer?
Yeah, if you haven't,
I don't know what they put in there.
If you haven't vomited on stadium beer, you haven't lived. But anyways.
Oh no, yeah. Don't chug stadium beer.
Oh man.
Jeez.
Oh my God. I went to.
Don't chug these.
I went to a Yankees Red Sox game in 1982 at Yankee Stadium. I was way underage. Didn't even need the fake ID. Got so hammered. It was Tanana versus Guidry. I got so hammered, man. I was like, I just hurled everywhere. And I'll tell you, beer was expensive back then, for what it should cost. But, all of that stuff goes to support these teams, and the fans have really taken the hit on this. It costs more to go to an NFL game with a family of 4 than it does to take your family to the Bahamas for the weekend. So it's I don't know. I'm missing it. I know that Rod Brindamore, he can sit out and no one cares. It's his fans that are going to care. Nobody else does. I certainly don't. You care, Chris?
He won't sit out. He's just disgruntled.
Yeah.
I can understand. I can understand him being disgruntled. Because he was in there in a playoff spot, and now you got to play another round. I can understand why they're disgruntled, but there's no need to grieve it. You're not the only one in the same boat here.
I'm in a mood. There's
tough
shit.
Eight other teams that are in the same boat, and you only hear 2 whining. And Tampa's not even out to play in the first round. What the hell are they whining for? Tampa can suck it.
They can. Tampa Bay Lightning. Anyways, we're going to bring in Steve Monahan. We're going to do the sim picks, and maybe we'll talk some other sports and other stuff in between. But I want to bring everybody in for this. I generally don't talk anything but sports on these shows and sports betting, but I am going to talk about something here that's not related, and that is what happened in Minnesota. And I am appalled. I am disgusted. Not as a white person, not as anything like that. I am disgusted as a human being for what I saw in that film. I think they should take those police officers, put them in front of every police officer in the world, and put them in the electric chair and push the button. Disgusting, man. I'm fed up. You see that officer with his knee on the guy's throat, and if you haven't seen the video, I'm not saying you should watch it because it's horrid, man. You just watching this guy, and all you're thinking to yourself is, fuck you. Who in the fuck do you think you are? He killed a guy, and it's like, who knows what happened before then? It's just like, when I grew up in Miami, and we had an incident. Okay, there was a guy named Arthur McDuffie, and you can look this up, and it happened. Okay, so you can look at Arthur McDuffie, and Arthur McDuffie was a guy. He had a rap sheet a mile long. Okay, the police chased him down. He was on a moped, and the police chased him down, and he hit a mailbox. And the police officer took out a flashlight and bashed him over the head with it. He was wearing a helmet. And the police officers bashed him over the head with a flashlight. And they killed him. And it was excessive police violence. I understand that people have records. I understand that most of these guys are dangerous. I understand that police officers are trained that at any point, these guys that they have under control could take out a weapon and drop them. And it happens more often than you think, because you don't hear about that side of it as much. Okay, you don't hear the uproar and all that stuff when it happens, but it certainly does happen. Look at Chicago's news for the past 2 years. But if a guy is down and he has been detained and you're still beating on him, you're a fucking coward, man, and you deserve what you get. And I'll tell you what, man, I don't talk about this stuff on this show. I never talk about it. I've been doing sports chat for 13 years. We've never talked religion. We've never talked politics. We've been through many elections. And I'll tell you, most of the elections have been pretty heated. And this last election, they're still talking about it, right? The losers are still mad and the winners are still gloating. We're already into the next election almost, That's how bad this one was. But I'll tell you what, I can't sit by and say what happened there is okay in any way, shape, or form. I don't know what happened ahead of time. I don't know if this guy took out a gun, pointed it at the guys, and was shooting everybody up. If that's the case, you gun them down right there, right? And you knock out. But that apparently doesn't seem to be what happened there. I don't know what happened beforehand, but what I do know is that this guy's down on the pavement, face down. A police officer has his knee into the back of his neck. The guy's saying he can't breathe. That part of it, I think you have to let that part of it go, because every one of us that's been handcuffed and guilty as charged, it hurts, man. I've been handcuffed. Steve's bailed me out of jail. He knows. It's like, I'm not going to sit here and claim, I could tell you guys I've never been arrested, but no one's going to believe me, right? But it's like, and it hurts like crazy, because they do put them a little tight just to irk you, They do that, They do that. And it does hurt. So they're used to people complaining about, I can't breathe, I feel sick. Have you ever been to the hospital? I was in the hospital a few years ago in Chicago, and it was at least 3 people in the hospital that were claiming injury that had been arrested, that were handcuffed to the gurney. So it's like, these are all common things, man. But when a guy is down on the ground, when he's down on the ground, he's been detained. You have 4 officers there. He's cuffed. You have another officer there. You can easily cuff his feet, and then you take him, throw him in the back of the car. You drive him off down to the station, and if you need to put him in a straitjacket in isolation or whatever the hell you do, Shawshank, the hole, you do it. But you kill a guy? He's not even resisting at that point. It looks like his hands are cuffed behind him. I can't see, but sure as hell looks like it to me. So I'm not going to sit by and idly let this go. The fact that Odell Beckham thinks it's disgusting, I don't care. The fact that LeBron James thinks it's disgusting, I don't care. But I'll tell you, I personally find it disgusting, man. I do care, And it's like, to me, it's not. This is not even a black, white, Obviously, there it is. But to me, this is a human issue, man. That's like, everybody, we're all in this together, man. We're all humans. We all, you've never heard me ever say one thing, remotely, race, religion, politics, belief, nothing, man. But I'll tell you what, this one, I'm telling you, this was a life changer for me. I'm seriously, I've had it, man. And it's like, they fired the guys, but these guys, he's a murderer, man. Criminal. All right.
You just get fired. You kill the guy, and you get fired. That's it.
I don't know what they're doing. I don't follow the news. I don't follow the news.
This officer's first time either. He's got a record a mile long of people complaining about the same thing, excessive force. This guy should have been not in the position he was. Somebody totally dropped the ball there. I agree. That's crap.
And what about the other officers not stopping him? Where's their obligation? Isn't their obligation to protect the public? Isn't that what their obligation is? And I'm not saying all cops. Believe me, I know. I know cops that aren't dirty. I know cops that aren't dirty, and I also know that in some of these other incidents, white, black, Hispanic, whatever, people have been shot that are unarmed. Shot and killed, unarmed. And this is what you see, and it's like it's terrible, But in a lot of those cases, the cops said stop. They didn't stop. They pulled something out. It's like they don't know if it's a hairbrush, a wallet, keys. They have no idea, man. It's like they're trained at that point to shoot, to kill, not to injure, not to it's not the movies. They don't shoot them in the leg.
That makes no sense.
They shoot to kill. That is what they're trained to do.
You're a cop. You can take. Why can't you shoot the guy in the leg or the arm or?
No, because that's not how it works. And that most kids growing up, the police officers come to the schools, and this is well laid out to you. Yep. And as from a young kid, the police officers come to the schools on a regular basis and talk about these things, and they always say, "We are not trained to shoot somebody in the leg." That is not how it works. It's like when the police say stop, you stop. What if the guy pulls out a semi-automatic weapon? It's like you can't take that risk as a police officer. We're talking about a guy that's down on his face on the pavement with 4 police officers right there.
Handcuffed. You ain't pulling out no semi-automatic.
Yeah, it's like there. What is going? Why don't they take this guy and just take him away? It's like, is it because the crowd is saying these things? You have to make it worse on this guy and kill him? Even after he was non-responsive, at least a full 2 to 3 minutes more before they put him into the ambulance. That this is going on. I'm disgusted, man, and it's like something has to be done. And if I don't say anything, then I'm a coward too. I know it has nothing to do with sports and sports betting, and I know a lot of people they don't want to hear about, but I don't care. I do. I don't expect any of the guys to join in or whatever.
No, Minneapolis hub city for them.
Yeah, I would say not.
They're off the list.
Yeah, I don't think it's a statement about the people of Minneapolis. I don't know what this is. No, it's not. This is a bigger problem. This is a bigger problem.
Yeah, it is. That's a huge problem, and I'm quite sure that the NHL doesn't want to step in the middle of that or bring anybody in the NHL into that.
Well, nobody does. Nobody does, man. Nobody does.
No.
Well, anyways, on that note, Chris, let's change to a happier subject of simulated sports games played by computers. Do we have hockey today, Rod?
Yep. Yeah, hockey's yesterday. Buffalo won 8-4, so we cashed on the Buffalo puck line and
so
the over.
Detroit didn't come through, huh?
It looked like they were going to.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit came and made it a 5-4 game there late, and then all of a sudden Buffalo was like goal, 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 and they scored 3 more real quick. Blew them out. No chance for Detroit. So today we got Pittsburgh at Colorado. I'm going to take Colorado here. Colorado's the home dog. Colorado money line plus 130. I'm also going to take the Colorado Avalanche to score the first goal of the game at plus 110. And they jacked the over. It's up to 8 now. So I'm going to take the under 8. Under 8 goals in this game, plus 120.
All right, there you have it. So for today's football section, we bring in Chris Ruffalo, who has guided us through. Welcome, Chris. We have yesterday. How did we do?
So yesterday, so you pull up the results here. The Jets covered against the Steelers, 35-12.
Loser.
That was under? 35-12? I took under.
Yeah. The Packers beat up on the Bengals 40-7.
Took that one. Minus 13.5, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The Eagles covered against the Rams 23-10.
All day. Eagles are great at this game.
And the Chargers covered against the Broncos 33-17.
3-1 for me. I only lost the Steelers against the Jets. Jets.
Yeah, I went 3-1 as well.
All right.
So at 12 Eastern, Minnesota minus 11 against Washington.
I mean, if this was an NFL game, would this be one that would made the main screen?
No.
No.
Vikings.
Vikings.
At 3 Eastern, 49ers minus 7 against the Titans. I'll take the Niners.
I'll go Niners.
We'll go Titans.
I'll go Titans.
7 Eastern, Saints minus 6.5 against the Bucks.
Saints.
I'll go Saints as well.
Saints.
Trying to avenge last year's Sim Bowl championship loss. They're on a mission.
They're on the revenge tour.
They're on a mission.
And at 10 Eastern, Seattle minus 3 against the Rams.
Seattle.
Yeah,
I'll go Seattle too.
I'll take Seattle. I hate the Rams. I even hate simulated golf. How about that?
The Rams have to travel across the country. They just played in Philadelphia yesterday, and now they got to go all the way to Seattle.
I think we can get this. I'm just messing around with the sound effects. I believe that we can get like anything, as far as sound effects. I'm just testing these out. I just think I think they could be fun situationally. I'm not gonna have a million of them. I think it would be fun to have situationally if we have one that just randomly like the you garbage, me saying you garbage, or
I was just gonna say or you suck.
Yeah, or suck it, Tampa Bay Lightning.
You should be able to record your own. You should be able to record your own on there.
Anyways, that wraps up today's show. Sorry for I'm not going to apologize for my opinion on that sensitive subject, that's for sure, or for sharing it with you guys. I know it has nothing to do with sports. If you're offended, I'm sorry that you're offended, but I'm certainly not sorry for anything I said, or the words I used to say it. So. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, we have news from the Major League Baseball Players Association. But it looks like this is going to take a while. But I have a feeling that it could be one of those things where it's like they get to the decision and boom, they're right out onto the field. That's how they do things. But NASCAR tonight. Any changes on your picks?
No, I still like my picks. I'm still sticking with. I'm thinking Kyle Busch to win. Oh, yeah, Kyle Busch to win. Kyle Busch top 3, and Truex or a Bowman top 3. Truex to win.
Jeff Jeter, no changes on his picks. He covers NASCAR over at our Pick Dogs site. So if you check out pickdogs.com, you can read Jeff Jeter's. I wanted to announce also that we signed a major deal with most of the U.S. sports books, and we'll be representing those brands over at the Pick Dogs site only for the time being. We'll see what happens, and see how those relationships play out. But originally we were just going to work with Bet365, but the other guys they didn't like that idea so much. So we'll see. And I think what we'll probably do is when we start talking about the games and stuff, we'll bring in the odds from all the different books to show where these games are at the different books, the money lines, and all the bets available. We might use the ticker to show at the game that we're talking about or something, and which sports books the lines are what, because these things move. We'll figure it out, man. We'll see what these guys will do for us, but apparently they'll frickin' do anything to love us. Anyways, who doesn't? Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.